Hello, boys and girls. Donna Devane here. AwakenedRadio.net is the website. That's Anastasia, the cat. She's in a lot of my videos, believe it or not. Let's have a cup of coffee and sit back and have a conversation. Before I get started good, I want you to notice over here, Organic Sulfur for Health. He has sponsored my radio broadcast for years now, and he provides probably the best organic sulfur that you will find anywhere. Do yourself, do your body, do your health a big favor, and go check out Organic Sulfur, the number 4, health.com. You really need sulfur in your life. Does a body good. And we're all about being healthy, happy, wealthy, and wise. That's kind of my little mantra. I am healthy, happy, wealthy, and wise. And for me, that encompasses everything. Every aspect. Mental health, emotional health, physical health. And if your body's not healthy, if your mind's not healthy, if your emotions are not healthy, it's doubtful you're going to be very happy. I mean, let's just get real. And right now, so many people, they ain't happy. I am shocked, flabbergasted sometimes even, by some of the stuff I see happening on social medias, videos. Man, people are mad. They're like mad dogs, rabid dogs. They're angry. And they're attacking one another because they feel threatened. And that's what I want to talk about today, is you are a targeted individual. Now, I'm not getting over into woo-woo land of all type of technologies being used, to put voices in your head to mess you up. I leave that for other people. I don't doubt that happens. I mean, I don't. I have mentioned back a couple years ago on reports that it actually has been used. I mean, it's not, it does sound woo-woo, but today, truth is really weirder than most of the science fiction movies that I've seen in my life. But I'm not talking about the government using technologies today to beam signals to you, or I'm not even talking about all the aluminum and barium that we're breathing, drinking, eating, being injected with, and how that's most likely, how they're activating, if you will, and changing people's genetic makeup, as well as their emotional and mental well-being. I'm not even talking about that today. What I'm talking about today is something so much simpler. And we see it everywhere if we have eyes to see. And that weird noise you're hearing in the video, I did a test earlier. I'll interrupt myself for a minute. I forgot to turn my fan off. That's the weird noise you hear. I'm very hot-natured, and even with the AC on, I still like the fan blowing on. But anyway, that'll explain that. And the second cat up there is Tux, because he looks like he's got a tuxedo on. But anyway, let's get back to being targeted. How often, every day, are you being told not just what happened, where it happened, but how you should feel about it? What you should think about it. You are bombarded with propaganda targeting all day long, no matter where you go. Even if you don't watch the news, even if you don't go to YouTube, even if you limit your social media exposure, your friends are targeting you because they've been targeting, and now they're freaking out telling you about it. We are bombarded with everybody's a victim. We haven't left out a group. I mean, white people, they're bad. No, white people are the victims of. No, Muslims are bad. No, Muslims are the victim of. No, Mexicans are bad. No, women. Yeah, I mean, there's not a group that this victimized mindset, mentality, propaganda has not been played against. And the sad part is, most people are falling for it. They're angry because they feel that they're being threatened by, pick your group. White people are supposed to feel guilty because all white people are racist, or we have white privilege, or now we're being attacked and we've got to be afraid because people don't like our whiteness. Blacks are going back in time. You know, oh, I'm a victim because my ancestors were slaves. Well, some of my ancestors were Native Americans. Another part of my ancestors were Irish. And a whole lot of them, about 50% or better of them, were women. But you know what? I'm not going to fall for the I'm a victim because Europeans came to this continent, took it over. They did some really mean things to a part of my ancestry. They built up a civilization literally from the ground up and created this beautiful country with all of this wonderful technology and architecture and art and I'm not gonna back up and say, well, you know, my Irish ancestors were mistreated as badly as my native ancestors were because they were Irish. Or I'm a woman and all of my women ancestors were treated badly, so I'm a special interest group, I'm a victim. See, I'm not going to play that. I'm not going to play it because, one, I respect myself. I love myself. I care about myself. And I know that what happened to my ancestors, it's not happening to me right now. Yes, every group of people on this planet have at some point or another been mistreated by other groups of people on this planet. But I don't need to go back 100, 200 years ago, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago to find something to be upset about. That's part of the propaganda. Oh, my ancestors were slaves. Pull down all the Civil War monuments. Okay, pull them down. Since you pull them down so that you won't be offended by them, has that undone the fact that some of your ancestors were slaves? Let's go ban books or remove movies because they trigger me, they offend me because they're talking about topics I don't agree with. Huh? My YouTube channel. Now I have got a second one, Awakened Radio. I don't know if we need to tell anybody, but over 1,000 videos, years worth of my work, were taken down. Not because I'm so special, but they used a couple of CBD videos that I had reviewed. I got an email saying this has been, put under age restriction, which I don't care. Cool. I can imagine a whole bunch of minor age children watching my videos anyway. I'm not talking about World of Warcraft. And then the next thing I know, I had made a comment on someone's video criticizing Israel and Netanyahu. Within an hour, and I'm not kidding you, within an hour, I got notice that due to repeated, horrible, bad things that I had done, my whole channel was suspended. Gone. And I appealed it, and I was told, no. We looked at it, and we're keeping you out of here. Okay. Okay. Now, am I going to get my panties all in a wad and start screaming, oh, look, look, look what they've done to me? No. Several days, well, a couple weeks after that, I got an email from YouTube on one of my other accounts, the Awakened Radio one, that they were no longer allowing CBD. It would all have to be taken off. And I mentioned to them when I was appealing my suspension that at the day of my suspension there were 364,000 videos that came up when I searched for CBD. I think it was probably that comment I made about Israel. But you know what? That's my dog under my desk, scratching and knocking the desk. I'm not going to move over into that, oh my God, look at me, poor me, I'm targeted. That, number one, that's out of control ego. You're not being targeted because you're so special. The click, self-appointed powers that be probably don't even know you exist in any real way, any more than they know I exist in any real way. It's all done by bots and AI and algorithms. It's nothing personal. You're not awesome. You know, you're not a threat to the system. And I'll tell you, this is part of the propaganda right here. You go and you listen to some patriots. And understand, I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican. I'm a divine human being that realizes that it's all a game. Religion's a game, politics is a game, it's all a game. Tribal identities, cultural identities, it's all a game to keep us crazy so that we don't cooperate with one another to make the world a better place for everybody, okay? But I listen to, because I love information. I mean, I really do. I was one of those kids that, you know, when I was growing up, I was probably 12, 13, 14 years old. My mother's like, you're always asking questions. The library was my best friend. I'd come in with, you know, a stack. My mother actually had to give the library permission when I was about 11 for me to borrow books from the adult section of the library, because I was reading Darwin's theory of evolution. I mean, you know, but I told my mother, I said, tell you what, if you'll get me a set of encyclopedias for Christmas, I won't have to ask so many questions. Guess what I got for Christmas? Then my next thing was, you know, I'm reading and I'm like, whoa, this is so exciting, and I'd have to go, you know, to the living room, and she was like, but that's me, you know, I love ideas, I do, I love ideas. Whether I agree with them or not, I find ideas fascinating, thrilling. So I watch and listen to all sorts of people. You know, the AI trackers are like, oh, where she's coming from, because she's over here with the liberals for a while, she's with the libertarians, she's with the anarchists, she's with the Republicans. Yeah, I'm so confused, you know. But that's because I love information, I love ideas. But this is what tickles me. You go to a lot and listen to a lot of patriots. And for months now, a year and a half, they've been screaming, YouTube's going to take us down. You know, you got to buy our stuff. You got to donate because YouTube's taking us down. We're a threat to them. They're terrified of us. You got to, you know, man, they've taken off our advertising. We're losing revenue. They're terrified of us. They're coming after us. And you know what? They're bigger than ever. They're bringing in millions of dollars a year in revenue, and they're still on the air on multiple platforms, opening up new platforms, and they're still all over live streaming on all the social medias that they told you, unless you supported them financially, with your hard-earned money, that you were no longer going to have them to tell you how victimized you're being and how angry you should be about it. Now see, to me, that's a red flag. There's one guy, and I'm not going to say any names, but there's one guy a friend told me about a couple years ago, you got to listen to, So I went to listen to him, he's a spiritual dude, you know. And he says that he is Edgar Cayce reincarnated. I'm like, whoa, cool. I've read a lot of Edgar Cayce's work. Let's go see what Edgar's got to say now. I didn't make it 10 minutes in before I called BS chicken caca. And when my friend asked me about it, I said, BS chicken caca. And, you know, she got a little butthurt with me, but that's okay. You know, she either get over it or not. It's the way I look at things. Whenever I go, and, you know, there's a difference. And this is what we're missing today. And this is why the propaganda is so effective, because it has diminished our discernment, our ability to ascertain mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whether we're being played or not, whether we're being conned or not. Because see, when you get over into that little reptilian mindset, fight or flight, fight or flight, fight or flight, there's no sensibility involved in that. You're just reacting. You're just a reactionary, not a revolutionary, not a evolutionary. You're a reactionary. You're just reacting through fear and or anger. And when I go to someone's website or their videos or whatever, and I got tickled with this back several years ago. I used to be a big MSNBC watcher. I loved, what was the guy? Keith Olbermann. I did. I thought he was so smart alecky. Didn't agree with him on everything, but I thought he was so smart alecky. I would have loved to have been his friend just so he and I could sit around and debate, you know? But anyway, one night, and it wasn't Keith that did it, it was after he left, and I was sitting there, Obama was still in office, and after I had listened to Obama's State of the Union or whatever, the MSNBC host come out, and they spent 3 times as long telling me what the president said and what it meant and how I should feel about it. And then I caught one of them, and I'm not going to say who. I caught one of them had pulled a small clip out of a statement that someone had made and was trying to tell me that this person said this is what it meant, and this is how I should feel about it. And I went, well, that's kind of odd that that person would say something so foolish. So I went and looked up the whole statement. It was about 5, 10, 15 minutes. It had been totally clipped and presented completely out of context. And it's not just MSNBC that does that. They all do it. Because see, here's the secret. Here's the real secret. There's no difference between Republicans and Democrats. I mean, one's got a donkey, one's got an elephant, but other than the logos, there's no difference between Democrats and Republicans. They're all players of the political game. They are propaganda agents for the self-appointed powers that be. And in order to keep you and me and the whole world engulfed in emotional, mental, physical insanity, they are constantly, continuously telling us what to think, how it affects us, and how to feel about it. And I can't help but to look around our world today as, goodness gracious, school shootings, Wow. Wow. What's up? Well, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids getting a gun, going into school, and killing their classmates. Where is this coming from? What's up with people going into their job and shooting their fellow employees? What's up with this crap? Well, I'll tell you what's up with it. The propaganda works. The anger and the fear works. And here's why. And I'm not going to make this super duper duper long. I was talking with someone yesterday and I said, here's the kicker. If you go back years ago when I started talking about geoengineering, aluminum, barium, who knows what else, is being sprayed in our atmosphere. It's trickling down. We're breathing it in. We're drinking it. We're eating it. It's in our water. It's in the injections that they give you. And I don't, what all's in the medicines, click, click, If we are being infiltrated by heavy metals, what does metal do? It conducts energy. I mean, if it's lightning, you don't want to go stand outside holding onto a metal pole, right? Why? Well, if you then use frequencies, electronic frequencies, Wi-Fi, the wiring in your house, the constant buzz of electricity and signals, it's all around us. It's how we get radio, it's how our cell phones work, it's how the Wi-Fi works, it's how we get television. What is, and I'm not even going into the deep wooby X-Files part of how this stuff can be used. I want to keep it real simple today. What if all of the heavy metals combined with all the electronic pollution, combined with all the fear-mongering, all the propaganda of you're at risk, you're a victim, they're out to get you. What if it's not flipping a switch in people? And they're going mad. Could that account for it? Could that account for women? Women standing out in the road, pulling their dresses up, and mooning people with their vaginas? That's kind of out there, people. I mean, back in the day, when I was a teenager, I will admit, I did moon somebody a few times from the car, You pull down your britches and you put your buttocks on the glass or out the window. I mean, we thought it was crazy, But I kind of outgrew that a little bit as I got older. We don't even have to go over into ELFs and, we don't have to get very deep in this rabbit hole of conspiracy. We can stay on the surface and see how we are all being targeted through the propaganda machine. Be afraid, you're a victim, you're being victimized, you're being threatened day in and day out. And I'll give you a really good example. These illegal immigrant children who have been separated from their parents. I've lost friends over this. Seriously. I've had people that I've known for years who have gotten very angry with me and want nothing to do with me. Because they are so emotionally invested in the energy of it. When I step back and say, okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal. If you come into this country illegally, you've broken the law. You broke the law. You're going to be detained, arrested. We do not arrest parents and put them in jail with their kids. Whether you're legal citizens or illegal citizens. If you are arrested and detained, put in jail because you broke the law, you don't get to take your kids with you. Now, is it heartbreaking and traumatizing for those parents and for those children, whether they're legal or illegal? Yes, I am sure it is horribly traumatizing. But just to stay saturated and angry. Oh, I'm so angry. Because arrested parents who have broken the law cannot take their kids to jail with them doesn't make any sense. Are you saying that every parent who is arrested and detained, put in jail, should take their children with them? I mean, really? Do you see how nonsensical that is? And I'm not saying it's a good thing that it's happening. I'm saying if you break the law, if you are an American citizen and you've got your kids with you and you go to the store and you get caught stealing and the cops come and they arrest you, they detain you, they take you to jail, social services comes and detains your children separate from you until they can find an adult family member to place them with. If not, then they are detained either in a group home, a detention center, or a foster home. What's the difference? Are you saying it's okay to do American children that way when their parents break the law, but it's not okay to do people's kids that way who brought them here illegally? Now, I would prefer that people that want to come to this country come legally. Bring your gifts and your talents, your insights into this country legally and naturalize, become an American citizen, and be loyal and faithful to this country. But here's the thing, and so many, oh, we don't need borders. We don't. I mean, don't you have a wall around? Don't you have walls in your house with a door that locks to keep uninvited people out of your house? Why do we do that? I mean, there's a lot of really good people in the world who would never, ever, ever come into my home without an invitation, and they would never come in and steal my stuff or beat me up. But there are a few who would. So I have walls on the outside of my country, my house, and I have a door that locks. And I vet you before I let you in. If a stranger comes to my door, I don't open the door and say, come on in. Depending on the vibes I get off that person, I may not even open the door. I may say through the door, how can I help you? What do you want? I had somebody several years ago out in my yard screaming and hollering, and I went out with a weapon in my hand, and I said, do you need me to call the cops? No. I said, then you need to leave my yard. One of the two. You're not going to stand in my yard raising a ruckus. We ain't playing this crap. I don't play that crap, people. And people get mad with me. And I'm not a Republican. I think I'm using a little bit of common sense. There are reasons we lock our car in the parking lot at the grocery store or the shopping center. There are reasons we lock our house. And I had a couple of people, so I don't lock mine. Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful that you don't. But they are, those doors with those locks are there for a reason. I know out here where I live, there's been lots of times when I got up the next morning and went to go unlock the door so I could go out, and I went, oops. I had not locked it the night before. But where I live, you know, I mean, there's only like 250 people out here. And everybody knows everybody. So, I mean, you know. But if I lived in town today, yeah, I'd lock my door. Rural areas, don't worry about it, you know. Besides, I got dogs. But my point is, we are not listening and feeling our way through and thinking our way through these problems. Instead, we're falling for the propaganda. And we're living in anger and fear and anger and fear. I mean, I am so weary. I don't even spend a lot of time on Facebook anymore, or Twitter either for that matter. And here's why. I mean, I got tired of unfriending and unfollowing people or hiding the post of people showing me pictures of dogs being horribly mistreated prior to being eaten in China. I don't want to eat a dog. I have pet dogs. I don't want to eat a dog or a cat. But you know what? I don't have a problem with people in other parts of the world who do eat dogs and cats. I don't eat worms. I don't eat grubs. But I don't have a problem with people doing so. Now, I have a preference that if you're going to eat an animal, if you're going to use an animal for food, that you would treat it with respect. Because all that fear and disrespect that you're using prior to making that animal your food, that energy's going in that animal and you're eating it. I mean, I don't butcher my own animals, but if I did, you can be guaranteed that I would treat that animal, its life, with respect and dignity and love and great gratitude. When I go to the store and I buy food to eat, I thank that food. I respect that food because I'm ingesting that. But I got weary of these constant attacks. I mean, I had one lady literally halfway around the world from me. She must have spent an hour telling me how horrible America and Americans were, how unsympathetic, how horrible we were, that we were locking up all these kids, ripping them from their parents' arms as they screamed. So I went and looked up. Since the 70s, America has taken in almost 12 million legal immigrants. Now, that's not counting all the people that are here illegally. But since the 70s, America has taken in over, well, right at 12 million legal immigrants from other countries. This country only takes in 750 because the UN kind of told them to. And when I put those stats out there, she kind of shut up. I'm like, well, we're a small country, yeah, and we've taken in enough people legally that we could populate a small country. We could populate Israel, you know. It's not about immigrants or borders or blacks or Muslims or whites or women or men. It's not about any of that stuff, boys and girls. What it's about is, in order to keep the masses of humanity compliant, complacent, apathetic, to what's really going on. This fear propaganda is continuously assaulting you. And I'll give you an example. Everybody was so excited. President Bush has decided, not Bush, Trump has decided that people who are at death's door can now use cannabis. Okay, that's great. But and everybody's, yay, man, that's awesome. Go Trump, that's awesome. My question's this. With all the research showing how effective cannabis is, and I'm not talking about smoking pot and getting high, cannabis oil, with all the research showing how effective cannabis is for digestive problems, Alzheimer's, dementia, epilepsy, autism, cancer. Why in the name of anything that makes a lick of sense do we need to be almost dead and get the president's permission before we can use it? Come on, boys and girls. I'm a grown-up. Why can't I just go get some marijuana seeds, grow a couple of plants, make a tincture, make a tea, smoke it if I want to, turn it into brownies if I want to, and use it, as long as I'm not forcing kids to take it? Why is it anybody's cotton-picking business what I, as an adult, put in my body? It's like raw milk. Oh, God, not raw milk. The government gets to say whether or not I'm using kefir, and I'll do some videos later on my journey into kefirs and kombuchas. But I called a lady. I finally found a woman about an hour from me. She has a dairy farm, and she sells milk. And I said, do you have raw milk? She says, no, we can't do raw milk. But they do the minimum that they have to do. Now, I'm an adult. I'm 62 and a half years old. Why do I have to get the government's permission to go to a dairy and buy raw milk to drink or make yogurt with or whatever? Why? Now, I get this. If you are a big business corporation and you want to sell food products, there should be some regulations and guidelines to determine the healthiness of what you're offering for sale. But now, even with all of those guidelines and regulations in place, how much food's been recalled just in the last 3 months for salmonella, E. coli, lettuce? I mean, I went nuts, for like 3 or 4 weeks. I love romaine. And I was like, when can I buy romaine again? Big Pharma. The regulations don't affect them. They put crap out that they know is killing people. Statins is one. They know it's killing people. And before it kills them, it makes them even sicker so they can sell them more drugs and make more billions and trillions of dollars off the back of propaganda programmed and brain-trained Americans. You want to know why it's important that I talk about this propaganda? That's why. Because you're buying food that's not food. You're taking medicine that's not medicine. And you're hating on people for no reason. I'm going to quit now. As I've been saying for years, I love you.